Billions of people on Earth use a toilet every day. It is one of the most important inventions in human history, yet most of us rarely think about it. We simply expect it to work. A quick flush, a few seconds, and everything disappears. But for most of human history, toilets as we know them didn't exist. Human waste polluted streets, contaminated drinking water, spread deadly diseases, and contributed to some of history's worst public health disasters. The evolution of the toilet isn't just a story about plumbing, it's a story about civilization itself. Because the moment humans learned how to safely remove waste, cities could grow larger, people could live longer, and entire societies could become healthier. This is the evolution of toilets. 3000 BC, the world's first known toilets. The story begins surprisingly early. Around 3000 BC, one of the world's most advanced civilizations, the Indus Valley Civilization, was already building remarkably sophisticated sanitation systems. Cities such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa featured brick houses connected to drainage networks. Many homes had private toilets connected to covered sewers. This was extraordinary. At a time when much of the world lacked even basic sanitation, these ancient cities were already thinking about cleanliness and public health. In some ways, they were thousands of years ahead of their time. 2500 BC, Ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, wealthy families often used limestone seats positioned above containers filled with sand. Servants would later remove the waste. While primitive compared to modern systems, it represented an early attempt to separate human waste from daily living areas. For ordinary people, however, sanitation remained far less sophisticated. 2000 BC, ancient Crete, and early flush systems. One of the most fascinating developments occurred on the island of Crete. The Minoan civilization created some of the earliest known flushing toilet systems. Using rainwater and gravity, waste could be washed through specially designed channels. These systems were surprisingly advanced and demonstrated that people had already begun exploring the concept of flushing thousands of years before modern toilets appeared. 100 BC, Rome builds a sanitation empire. The Romans elevated sanitation to an entirely new level. By around 100 BC, Rome possessed an enormous network of aqueducts, public baths, sewers, and communal latrines. Some public toilets could accommodate dozens of people at once. Privacy was not a priority. People often sat side by side while conducting business, talking politics, discussing trade, or sharing gossip. Toilet visits were surprisingly social. The Romans also built the famous Cloaca Maxima, one of the world's earliest large-scale sewer systems. For the ancient world, it was an engineering marvel. Yet even Roman sanitation had limitations. Disease remained common, and waste management was still far from perfect. 500 AD, the collapse of sanitation. When the Western Roman Empire declined, much of its sanitation infrastructure deteriorated. Throughout much of medieval Europe, organized sewer systems largely disappeared. Cities became crowded, dirty, and unhealthy. Waste was often dumped directly into streets, rivers, or nearby pits. People frequently emptied chamber pots out of windows. The results were predictable. Disease spread rapidly. Water supplies became contaminated. Living conditions in many growing cities were terrible. The 1200s, the medieval garderobe. During the Middle Ages, castles developed a simple solution called the garderobe. These were small rooms built into castle walls with vertical shafts leading downward. Waste simply dropped into pits below. Some castles positioned garderobes above rivers or moats to help carry waste away. While effective for their time, odors and hygiene remained major problems. Still, they represented an important step toward dedicated indoor sanitation. 1596, the first modern flush toilet. One of the most important milestones arrived in 1596. An English inventor named Sir John Harington designed one of the first recognizable flushing toilets. Harington even installed a working version for Queen Elizabeth I. The design included a water tank and flushing mechanism remarkably similar in concept to modern systems. Unfortunately, the invention arrived too early. Without widespread plumbing and sewer infrastructure, it failed to gain widespread adoption. The idea was brilliant. The world simply was not ready. 1700s, cities become a health crisis. As populations grew during the 18th century, sanitation problems became increasingly severe. Major cities expanded rapidly, but waste disposal systems failed to keep pace. Human waste often accumulated in cesspits beneath homes and buildings. The smell alone could be overwhelming, but the greater danger was invisible. Contaminated water contributed to outbreaks of cholera, typhoid, and other deadly diseases. The need for better sanitation was becoming impossible to ignore. 1775, the first practical flush toilet patent. In 1775, Scottish inventor Alexander Cumming patented an improved flushing toilet design. His key innovation was the S-trap. This simple feature prevented foul sewer gases from entering buildings. It remains one of the most important components in modern plumbing. For the first time, flush toilets became more practical and hygienic. The 1800s, the sanitation revolution begins. The 19th century transformed sanitation forever. Rapid urbanization created enormous public health challenges, especially in cities such as London, Paris, and New York. One event became legendary: 1858, the Great Stink. During the summer of 1858, unusually hot weather intensified the smell of untreated sewage flowing through London's River Thames. The odor became so overwhelming that it disrupted government operations and affected daily life throughout the city. The crisis became known as the Great Stink. But something important happened. Politicians could no longer ignore sanitation problems. Massive investments were made in modern sewer systems. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette designed a revolutionary sewer network that dramatically improved public health in London. Many historians consider this one of the greatest infrastructure projects ever completed. 1880s, the modern toilet takes shape. By the late 19th century, flush toilets were becoming increasingly common in wealthier homes. Manufacturers improved reliability, comfort, and design. One company became particularly famous. Thomas Crapper's plumbing business helped popularize improved toilet systems throughout Britain. Although many myths surround his role, he did not invent the toilet. He did, however, contribute to its growing popularity and refinement. By this point, the basic structure of the modern toilet was recognizable. 1900s, indoor plumbing becomes normal. The 20th century saw the widespread adoption of indoor plumbing. Running water, sewer connections, and indoor bathrooms gradually became standard features in homes across much of the developed world. For millions of people, this represented a dramatic improvement in quality of life. No more outdoor privies, no more chamber pots, no more nighttime trips to separate buildings during winter. Sanitation became convenient. 1950s, the modern bathroom era. After World War II, bathroom design evolved rapidly. Toilets became more comfortable, more reliable, and easier to clean. Colorful bathroom fixtures became fashionable. Entire bathrooms were redesigned around comfort and convenience rather than simple necessity. The toilet had become a permanent part of modern life. The 1980s and the 1990s saw a focus on water efficiency. As environmental concerns grew, governments and manufacturers began focusing on water conservation. Older toilets often used enormous amounts of water per flush. New designs dramatically reduced water consumption while maintaining effectiveness. Dual flush systems became increasingly popular in many countries. The goal was simple: use less water without sacrificing performance. In the 2000s, smart toilets began to emerge. Then came a surprising innovation: the smart toilet. Particularly popular in countries such as Japan, advanced toilets introduced features that earlier generations would have considered science fiction. Heated seats, automatic lids, built-in bidets, air dryers, deodorizers, motion sensors. Some models could even play music. The toilet was becoming intelligent. 2020s. The future arrives. Today's most advanced toilets are far more than plumbing fixtures. Some can analyze health indicators. Others reduce water consumption dramatically. Certain models connect to smartphones and allow personalized settings for multiple users. Artificial intelligence is even beginning to enter the bathroom. Researchers are exploring toilets capable of monitoring health conditions through routine usage, potentially detecting problems before symptoms appear. The future toilet may become an important medical tool. The future of toilets. From the sewer systems of the Indus Valley Civilization in 3000 BC to Roman public latrines, medieval garderobes, Harrington's flushing toilet in 1596, Cummings' revolutionary patent in 1775, the sanitation reforms of the 19th century, and today's toilets, the evolution of toilets is really the story of humanity learning how to live together safely. It may not be glamorous, it may not be exciting, but few inventions have saved more lives. Modern sanitation has prevented countless diseases, improved public health, and allowed cities to grow into the massive urban centers we know today. In many ways, civilization itself depends on the humble toilet. And if history has taught us anything, even something as ordinary as a toilet can become extraordinary when viewed through the lens of time. If you enjoyed this journey through the evolution of everyday life, subscribe for more stories about the inventions and innovations that shaped our world. Because some of history's most important revolutions happened behind a closed bathroom door.